The air itself seemed to hold its breath as Ambassador Elias Vance stepped onto the iridescent floor of the Galactic Compact's highest court. The chamber stretched upward into impossible dimensions, its curved walls defying ordinary geometry, creating the illusion of infinite space. The ambient light pulsed with a slow, rhythmic glow, like the heartbeat of some vast, slumbering beast. Elias adjusted his cufflinks, a nervous habit he'd never quite shaken, and surveyed the assembly before him. The Compact S delegates were arrayed in tiered seating that spiraled upward into the haze of the chamber's upper reaches. There were the Schalker, their crystalline bodies refracting light in fractal patterns, shifting between dimensions as they observed him. The Vorath hulked in their pressurized exosuits, methane vents hissing with each breath. The Zix, a swarm mind of interconnected drones, rearranged themselves into ever-changing configurations, their collective attention like a physical weight, and at the center of it all, High Judge Vorlix. Its silicate form towered over the proceedings, prismatic light scattering from its angular body. When it spoke, the voice resonated through multiple frequencies at once, a deep, tectonic rumble beneath a piercing harmonic that made Elias's teeth ache. "Humanity of Terra," Vorlix intoned, the words vibrating through the chamber. "You stand accused of crimes against cosmic order. Your species has been deemed incompatible with the stability of the known galaxy." Elias allowed himself a slow exhale. He had expected this. The Compact had spent decades observing Earth, documenting every war, every rebellion, every desperate act of survival. They had seen human soldiers fight through wounds that should have been fatal. They had watched engineers turn scrap into starships, had listened to diplomats broker peace between civilizations that had warred for centuries, and it terrified them. "The evidence is irrefutable," Vorlix continued. A holographic display flickered to life above the chamber floor, showing scenes of human history wars waged with ever-escalating weapons, colonies built on the edge of catastrophe, the relentless push outward into the stars. Elias waited until the display finished. Then, calmly, he said, "You're right." A ripple of surprise passed through the assembly. The Zix drones froze mid-reconfiguration. A Vorath delegate vented methane in a sharp burst. "We are dangerous," Elias continued, stepping forward, "but not for the reasons you think." He tapped his wrist display, and the hologram shifted. No longer scenes of destruction, but of aftermath. Hospitals on Mars after the asteroid strikes, doctors working through broken ribs to save lives, engineers on a dying colony ship, jury-rigging life support from wreckage. A child, her own face still streaked with blood, giving her oxygen mask to a wounded alien refugee. "You call us monsters," Elias said softly. "Yet when your ships fled the supernova, ours turned back to save survivors. You say we're violent, but we waged wars to end slavery. You say we reckless, but we dive into black holes just to see what's on the other side." He let the words hang in the air, watching the reactions flicker across the assembly. Then he tapped his display again. "But let's talk about the real reason we're here." The hologram changed once more, showing the precursor obelisk, the so-called doomsday device humanity had allegedly activated. "You claim we nearly destroyed the galaxy," Elias said. "But what if I told you that device wasn't a weapon at all?" The runes on the obelisk flared to life, resolving into a message that burned itself into every mind in the chamber. "Only those who dare to destroy can truly create." The reaction was instantaneous. The Schalker delegates fractured into defensive shards. The Vorath vented gas in alarm. The Zix swarm collapsed into panic disarray. And High Judge Vorlix, its crystalline form flickering with something like fear, whispered, "What have you done?" Elias smiled. "We passed the test." The chamber descended into chaos. Emergency containment fields snapped into place as several delegates overloaded their sensory inputs. The holographic display flickered, struggling to maintain coherence as the obelisk's message rewrote itself in real time, adapting to each species' language, their history, their deepest fears. Elias waited for the uproar to subside. When it didn't, he raised his hand and the chamber fell silent, not by command, not by force, but because the obelisk had responded to him. The precursors didn't leave behind weapons, Elias said, his voice carrying effortlessly. They left behind a trial, a test to find a species capable of wielding their legacy. He stepped forward, the floor humming beneath his feet. You called us reckless. You were right. We tinker with forces we don't understand. We push boundaries. We break things. The hologram shifted again, showing Earth's history, not just the wars, but the recoveries, the rebirths. The moments when humanity stared into the abyss and refused to blink. But breaking isn't the same as destroying, Elias said. Sometimes things need to be broken before they can be remade. High Judge Vorlix's form darkened, its crystalline lattice vibrating with suppressed energy. You speak of remaking, it hissed, but all we have seen is chaos. Elias nodded. Because you stopped evolving, he gestured to the assembly. When was the last time any of your species truly innovated? Not improved, not refined, created something entirely new? The silence was answer enough. The precursors knew stagnation is death, Elias said, so they built a failsafe. A way to ensure the galaxy wouldn't just endure, but grow. He tapped his wrist display one final time, and humanity just unlocked it. Outside the chamber windows, the stars shifted, not metaphorically, literally. Across the galaxy, dormant precursor artifacts flared to life, their activation signatures forming a perfect spiral, a Fibonacci sequence written in starlight. The oldest Zix swarm mind, the first memory, dissolved into recursive chanting, its drone speaking in tongues dead for millennia. And in the heart of the chamber, the obelisk's runes rearranged once more, forming a new message. Custodians confirmed. Stasis protocols terminated. High Judge Vorlix recoiled. No, this cannot. The floor split open. Silver tendrils erupted, lashing through the chamber with impossible precision. 3 compact guards were impaled before they could react, but instead of blood, their bodies dissolved into streams of nanites that reformed into ... humans, perfect copies of Elias Vance. Meet my reinforcements, the original Elias said, as his duplicate stepped forward in eerie synchronization. Though reinforcements implies they're separate from me. The nearest duplicate smiled. We prefer extensions. Vorlix's crystalline form flickered through the spectrum of panic. You merged with precursor technology. This is abomination. No, the duplicates chorused. This is evolution. The original Elias raised his hand and the station itself responded. Walls reconfigured, systems rebooted. The very architecture of the compact's most secure facility, bent to human will. You had your chance to guide the galaxy, Elias said. Now it's ours. Vorlix made its final play. Emergency quarantine protocols activated. The chamber's failsafes triggered, intending to jettison the entire human delegation into the waiting maw of a black hole. The containment fields flared and shattered against Elias's upraised palm. Still trying to kill what you don't understand, he murmured. His voice had changed, no longer just human, but layered with something older, something vast. The station's systems sang as they merged with the human presence. Wiring became neural pathways. Bulkheads flexed like living tissue. The Eliases, all of them, glowed with the same silver light as the obelisk. We'll give you one chance, they said in unison. Join us in the next evolution. Some delegates fled, some attacked, and some ... hesitated. A single Shalkur judge, its crystalline form trembling, stepped forward. Show me, it whispered. Elias extended his hand. The Shalkur took it, and screamed until the scream became laughter. Its body unfolded like origami in reverse, fractals blooming into impossible geometries, light bending through new dimensions. When it reformed, it was neither Shalkur nor human. It was more. Vorlix watched in horror as its fellow judge transcended before its eyes. This is not justice. It roared. Elias tilted his head. No, it's mercy. He turned to the remaining delegates, those who hadn't fled, hadn't attacked. Those who still wavered on the edge of a decision that would reshape the galaxy. The precursors left us a choice, he said. Stay as you are and fade, or become something new. Outside, the stars continued their slow, inexorable dance into new configurations. And in the heart of the chamber, the last unaltered Vorath delegate vented methane in a shuddering sigh. What happens now? It asked. Elias smiled. Now, he said, we build. 1 year later, the remains of the Galactic Compact Central Station orbited a transformed Earth. The planet's surface shimmered, not with cities as they had once been, but with something between architecture and organism. Structures that pulsed with a slow, steady rhythm. Bridges of light connected continents. Forests of crystalline trees grew in perfect fractal spirals. The oceans glowed softly, alive with nanite swarms that cleaned and healed and remembered. At the center of it all stood Elias, or what had once been Elias. His form was fluid, now sometimes human, sometimes something else entirely. The boundaries had blurred, the distinctions no longer mattered. Before him floated the last unaltered Vorath, its methane vents wheezing in the thin, adapted atmosphere. Why spare me? It rasped. Elias, the part of him that still remembered being just a man, smiled. Every garden needs its worms, he said. And as the first stars of the new constellation network blinked to life across the galaxy, the last pure Vorath realized the terrible, beautiful truth. Humanity hadn't won the trial. They had outgrown it.